Hi, good morning, Biro.
Hello, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you
Okay,
see me?
brilliant.
I can see
Yes.
it. Yeah, great. So it
Awesome.
might be 8 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yes, it's 8 o'clock in the morning.
And you're based out of which place? US.
No, UK.
Okay. Great.
Just adjust things here.
Yeah. So basically, for this meeting, I got around 20 RSVPs, but I'm strange, like I have none of the participants now, as of now. So what I do is that usually I record the sessions and I give it to the participants of my community who are unable to join actually.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just need to set up something here really quick and we'll be on our way.
Yeah. So we'll wait for another 5 minutes and then we'll start. I'll just drop a reminder.
That's good. Just adjust the camera.
Also, I'll put the Zoom link here so that whoever has not done the RSVP can join directly from here. Do that.
Hopefully the camera stays in focus.
We have Hua Sun Sim. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, good day.
Good day. How are you?
Yep, good.
We cannot see you.
Oh.
Yeah, oh, hi. So basically, we are waiting for other folks to join.
Mhm.
So actually, this time we have received around 20 RSVPs, but I see few of them have. I mean, only you have joined. so what I am doing is like I am recording the entire session and I'll put it in the community page. If someone wants it, I would be sharing it across.
Okay.
Okay. So we have Biro also along with us in the call. So Biro, like, will give another 5 minutes time and then we'll start.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah, sure. So Fuasum, like, I mean, how shall I address you? Sim
You can,
or?
yeah, you can call me Sim.
Okay. Great. So you're based out of Singapore?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, I haven't seen you in any of the community event. Like we had been at least doing twice, 2 to 3 events a month from last month because I have joined this community like as a leader from last 2 months. So I'm trying to host as many as events as possible, and I'm trying to build up the community so that we do more collaboration and we do more knowledge sharing. And we are lucky to have Biro along with us.
Yes.
Biro has got.
Yes, today's topic is very interesting. So that's why I signed up.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. So Biro has got lots of sessions like Monday coffee with Jexo. So I usually follow that.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. The summary is quite useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that's useful. Well, we're always improving, so hopefully we can get those sessions to be better and better.
Right. Okay, shall we start?
Or shall we wait?
We'll wait for. Okay, let's wait for another 2 minutes, and then we'll start. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, I'm recording the session, so whoever is required, I'll just share it across.
Mm.
Sounds good. It's 3 in the afternoon there.
Yes. So actually the timing is more like it's a mid of the day. So okay, in usually it'll be how's it people will be like outside because it is
Mhm.
either usually I think people will be usually at home at the beginning of the early in the morning or maybe late in the night, but because now we are kind of in a heightened alert phase because there's some
Mhm.
community infection going around.
Right.
So yeah, we are not allowed to actually eat outside. Then we can only go out as 2 people as a group.
Right. I see.
So actually 3 p.m. should be okay because people will usually be at home.
Yeah, I was thinking because it's a Saturday, 3 p.m. It's
Yes.
especially in summer days. It might be hard to catch people on a Saturday at 3 p.m. At least
Yes.
here in UK.
Yes. How's the situation over in UK? I heard that there's some you're allowed to go overseas for holidays already for those who are vaccinated.
Awesome. Thank you. Let me just share my screen. Oh, can you enable me to share, please?
Oh, I'll do that right away.
Okay,
Here we go.
brilliant. Yeah. So I can share now. Contact, 1 second. Second, just get this ready here. Okay. Okay, I'm just preparing the. Okay, let me know you can see the screen.
We can. Yeah.
And you can see the presentation slide.
Yes. So Sim, can you confirm?
Yes.
Ah, great.
And you seeing the software as well, just the slides?
We can see the slide.
Okay, brilliant. All right, so my name is Viro. I'm a co-founder at Jexo, and thank you guys for joining me, and also thank you for everyone that's going to watch this recording afterwards. Yeah, I'm a co-founder at Jexo, and today I want to talk a bit about opinionated apps. This is our agenda today. I'll introduce Jexo just because we're not yet as established as other vendors and marketplace partners in their ecosystem. We're still a startup, so I'll talk a bit about Jexo. Then, in order for me to better convey where this whole opinionated product principle comes from within our team and our use case specifically, I will give a brief story of our first app, Swanly, and how we got to where we are today. Then we're going to talk about the opinionated product principles, and we'll close with a few competitor comparisons just to put that in perspective against an opinionated type of piece of project management software versus a more broad solution. So a bit about Jigsaw. What do we actually do? So we help teams improve how they deliver work with smart planning apps for Jira Cloud. We basically build project portfolio and also product management solutions for Jira Cloud. And we started as a cloud provider, a cloud app provider, and we kind of stayed there. We've not deviated to anything else. Yeah, we kind of have we're passionate about everything SaaS, and we have a background. Both me and my co-founder Nikki have a background in building project management SaaS platforms from our previous jobs. So we wanted to bring some of that knowledge and some of that expertise into Jira as well, into Jira Cloud. We also, our mission is to help shape up. By the way, can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, okay. So our mission is to help shape up the cloud environment, cloud ecosystem with better PPM solutions. And that's what we're currently doing and basically solving core problems for managers that use Jira. And these are currently our apps. We have 3 apps on the marketplace at the moment, all focused on product marketing. Product management, sorry. So you're not going to see us build any apps outside this realm, any tool, anything around tooling, automation, anything like that. No, so that's out of our focus. But our apps currently, Foxley, it helps with removing uncertainty from projects and using data metrics to structure your backlog prioritization. So it basically helps bring transparency and inclusiveness, to put it like that, into how you plan and prioritize your backlog. Swanly, our what we call our flagship application, helps bring better visibility with your products and projects by planning and tracking work deliverables in Jira. And Octo helps structure work through components, through component versions, and cross-team components in an organization. So those are our current apps. We're also currently working on a.
So, Biro, a quick question. Like, since you are the co-founder of Jexo, so why this like Foxley, Swanley, and Octol, animals and birds? Do you have something special in mind to give these names?
Yeah, so we actually have our 4th app that we announced not long ago. I don't know if you've seen that on any of our channels, which is Hedge, which is a basically it's a risk management app, and the animal is a hedgehog, because it's the hedgehog it's risk adverse and can protect itself from risks and see them coming and such. The animals are kind of like I would say a metaphor, because as you can see, all of the animals are the logos are made of origami, so they're origami animals, and that kind of conveys our team and our suite of products as I would say we as a team are providing tools that are that can shape into the need that you have, right? So if you imagine Jigsaw, it's a pretty basic idea, but if you imagine Jigsaw as a plain piece of paper, right? All of the products that we make are the origami animals, and we chose animals as symbols because each individual animal has its traits. So it was easier for us to basically attribute those traits to our apps. Like, for example, Foxly, a fox is really smart, right?
Yeah.
So when you use data and you're transparent and you're able to prioritize your backlog using data and in a very smart way. That was kind of like the metaphor there. And the other apps as well, as I mentioned, Hedgehog, the next app that we're going to launch around risk management. The Hedgehog represents that, being able to manage risks and protect itself.
Great. Thanks for the insight.
That's okay. It's not this extremely well versed idea, right? But it was just something that we really loved. Or we also really loved paper animals. Nikki makes them by hand, so she knows how to do origami animals. So it just made sense to us.
Yeah.
These are some of our achievements. We've been on the marketplace since towards the end of 2018, and about a year ago, we became Silver Marketplace partner. All of our apps are promoted by Atlassian in the best project management apps categories, as well as we had some of our apps staff picked before. All of our apps align to the Atlassian security standards and guidelines, and they are constantly tested by security researchers. So we're part of the bug bounty program that Atlassian is promoting. And all of our apps are top rated, and we currently have well over 1,000 active installs across our 3 apps. But enough about bragging. Let's get into the meat of it and discuss a bit about opinionated software. And as I mentioned, in order for me to do that, I need to first explain a bit about Swanly and the history of it. As I mentioned earlier, Swanly is our first app that we've launched on the marketplace back in 2018. It's also kind of our flagship app at the moment. We back in 2018, we had a need. We were working for a different company, and we were looking for a way for us to visualize our Jira releases on a calendar view and visualize releases across multiple teams, because we had a more complex way of working. We had multiple teams that were releasing in the same repo, same code base. I say complex, but that's one of the most common ways today. So that's a very common example of multiple teams pushing code into the same repository. So I was at the time a release manager, so I really needed a way to be able to mitigate, figure out if multiple teams are releasing on the same day, so that we can prepare for that, to avoid any conflicts or any issues along the way. I couldn't find anything that was suitable. After much research, I tried using spreadsheets, I tried using Google Calendar, I tried using a lot of makeshift tools. And I also found some applications that were a little bit too large and required too much buy-in. The tools like Plethora and other tools that were for change and release management, as well as back then it was Portfolio for Jira. It was an app by Atlassian, and even that was a bit too complex for us, because you had to buy into all of the configuration of the setup. You had to buy into resource management, and the calendar, the timeline view wasn't really exactly what we were looking for. So we decided to build our own. And as soon as we put pen on paper and drafted the first sketches, we realized this could actually be a really useful app for others to use, other Jira users to use, and release managers. So we decided to build it as a marketplace app. and the rest is kind of history. That's how Jigsaw came to be, basically. So version 1 was a release timeline, basically allowing you to plot your releases on a timeline view. It also had, it was showing the projects as a swim lane, so you would actually see all of your releases across your entire Jira instance. And because our releases were a bit more complex, it was also showing you visualizing the phases of the release that a release would go through. We launched it in 2018, version 1, and then throughout 2019, the first pieces of feedback that we got from customers and trials and such kind of made me and Nikki move the tool. That plus our own experience with using it internally, this combination of customer feedback and our own usage helped us push Swanly towards V2, which was more of a release management, release orchestration tool, a bit more complete, more features related to helping you drive planning and reporting for your releases. But I'm proud to say that the interface was quite engaging and enjoyable and crisp. So we got through, since we launched, we kept on getting praises, and we kept on getting a bit of attention from also other types of teams, like marketing teams and other like business ops and so on. And all of a sudden we realized that we had companies that were using Swanly as a roadmap planning tool for other type of teams outside the technical realm. And we started thinking that maybe there's something there that it helps teams just purely plan and track using a roadmap, and it's not just about release management. So that's how Swanly V3 kind of came into play, was from this constant overwhelming positively feedback of teams wanting more and more features related to things outside release management and things outside a technical realm. So that's how V3 came into play. V3 of our Swanly flagship application is a complete rewrite from an architecture perspective of the app, to make sure that we can continue to build upon it and make it flexible, as well as the interface. We've kind of polished the interface to be friendlier, a bit more welcoming to other teams as well, and make it more of a project management tool. So we moved from being a tool used to plan releases to a tool that can be used to plan any and all parts of the project. And in order to get there, we had to take drastic measures. As I mentioned, we rewrite the whole thing. And as we were transitioning from release timeline to a more comprehensive tool, we realized our app was in danger of becoming complex. And that was, as we were transitioning, when we started, Nikki and I said, we want something extremely simple that you can plug and play and is very intuitive, and you don't need to spend countless hours or even days or even weeks in setting up or configuring anything. You just install it, bam, everything is on the timeline, and you can build upon that based on your needs as well. And we were really struggling at one point, especially in 2020, when we were getting quite a bit of feedback on the application as well as transitioning. And so there were two reasons why we were struggling. Number one, very simple, moving from a very specific tool that does something specific, like for example, release management, to a more broad realm like project management, automatically gives you a bunch of headaches in how do I translate that but still maintain a bit of simplicity and nice workflow in the application and such. But the other point was, since we launched V1 up until now, we kept on getting feedback, improvement requests, feature requests, and it can get overwhelming. And if you're not careful, for us, it was, we had to be very careful not to become a Swiss Army knife that also is extremely complex and very hard to figure out and maintain and such. So we really wanted to make sure that people, when they install the application, they don't scratch their heads, try to figure out how to set it up, one, and two, it makes sense, so they understand what the value of the application is from day one. So those were the risks, and those are usually the risks in general, not just for us, but for any type of tool that wants to have a more plug and play and guided approach to delivering value. That's always a struggle. How do I not make this tool too complex and cumbersome to use? And that's kind of when we started looking into the opinionated software development practices, or opinionated product principles. And this really helped us, and it continues to help us. These principles really help us maintain that course and not deviate and not make the application too complex. But instead of me just bullet pointing a bunch of terms and maybe half of people just not digesting that information, I said I'm going to lay this down in a couple of ways. So one, I'm going to do a very, very, very silly test, just to kind of reinforce what an opinionated piece of software is compared to a more broad, comprehensive tool that has a lot of configuration. And two, I will talk about Swanly as an example and show you a few examples on the screen of what it does and how we consider our tool opinionated in that sense. So we'll first do the test. Just try for a second to focus on the orange dot on this design here, on these bubbles. Yeah, and now try to focus, whoops, let me just remove this, ruin my layout here, sorry. And now try to focus, okay, so this, and now try to focus on the orange dot again. That's in very, very plain and silly terms what a opinionated piece of software does. It kind of guides you to where you need to get, rather than a more broad and kind of like show all of the information at once type of tool, which gives you all of the information and lets you pick. Opinionated and guided type of software guides you to your answer. And this is the definition. Opinionated software approaches a business process in a way perceived as inherently better than others, and provides software crafted around that approach. Better, but not the only way, right? So the reason why we build Swanly and we provide the layout, the views, the screens in Swanly that we do is because that's what we think is the best way to consume information, at least for the type of audience that we're targeting, but it's not the only way. And it might be the best way for me, but also, what advanced roadmaps is not the wrong way, is still a good way. And they might consider that that's the best way to convey information on a piece of paper or on a piece of screen, to put it like that. Right. So, yeah. And I'm gonna this is gonna play here in the background just to give you an example of this kind of guided drill down approach. But fundamentally, for both Nikki and I, the way we looked at this type of excessive customization type of apps, and let's call them extremely inclusive features, these type of behaviors where you have excessive customization and extremely inclusive features, like a ton of features in the application, make for product development anti-patterns. So we went with a guided approach to information. Let's call it the golden path to you getting the information that you need. Think of it like this: rather than giving you all of the information at once and letting you pick what's the most important for you and trying to make an assumption based on everything that you see at once, we guide you through a path so that you can create a story about the information that you reached, so the end result. So think about it as well from a kind of like top-down approach to, for example, in our case with Swanee, project planning and project management, where you first get encountered by the high-level items and you kind of like drill down into the information if you need to, but you can also just get the high-level information if that's what you want. Or you can also stop midway and just getting a bit more information about, let's say, a specific activity stages and the status of them. Or you can drill down even further and figure out what issues are attached to the scope of that specific deliverable, or look at the reporting and such. But showing you very specific pieces along the way rather than all of it, and enabling you to make that make that story about that specific outcome that you're looking for. Another thing, opinionated can also mean expertise, and it can become a competitive advantage for tools. What do I mean by expertise? When you lay down a journey, and that's the only journey that, for example, your tool, just to give you an example, your tool provides, you lay down that journey based on expertise, either your expertise as a, let's say, as a consultant in this, or an expert or a professional in this, or from your customers' expertise, basically collecting information and figuring out what the best path is in order to solve the customer's problem using that path, and focusing on optimizing that path. Take, for example, QuickBooks. Probably you might have heard of QuickBooks. It's an accounting software. Now, when you think of accounting in your organization, you have multiple ways to handle that. But let's take, for example, doing accounting in a spreadsheet. You can very well do accounting in a piece of Excel spreadsheet. You can write all of the entries in there, revenue, expenses, salaries, and so on. It's very flexible. You can structure data in there the way you see fit for your team and organization. But where it starts getting challenging is basically scratching your head on how to start putting together profit loss, balance sheet reports, and all of this stuff. And then you have to start going and either researching if you have limited resources, you're going to spend a lot of time in researching and figuring out how the calculation should work and what the number should be and what the standards are and so on, and kind of like becoming a mini accountant expert. Or you can also hire, let's say, a consultant to help you set up those reports. Yeah, so that's kind of the benefit is flexibility. The downside is you might not have the expertise. You make shift for a very early case, but then when you want to expand, things get complicated and expensive. While with a QuickBooks, it's plug and play, right? So you can link your bank account for your business directly, and it automatically pulls the information. You only need to go and classify it, and then bam, you have every type of accounting report that you would need. You would have it in your dashboard. And that's what I mean by expertise, because QuickBooks is a tool, not a very flexible one. You can't introduce a lot of customization around how you do the reports and such, but it is an expertise tool. There are probably a lot of accountants that are contributing as customers, are contributing to the evolution of QuickBooks to offer all of these pre-made reports and piece of functionality. It is known for these kind of opinionated software to be appealing to smaller companies, startups that might not have the time and resources, budgets, and so on to put together a very comprehensive and configurable solution. And they just want to solve a specific problem, and they want to pay a fraction of the cost to solve that problem, and they're not themselves as a consumer opinionated about how that tool should work. In enterprises is usually a bit different. So with larger companies, the way you see there's different type of assessment of how to acquire a piece of software, and it usually includes a comprehensive list of customization factors. That's why very often companies implement larger, more comprehensive, sometimes clunky software, and they need to hire consultants to help them implement and such, because they have specific factors when purchasing software and such. But with the transition to cloud, with the this openness that's starting to happen with enterprise companies, large organization taking in SaaS tools, we start seeing departments of organizations starting to use these type of opinionated and expertise tools as well. So it's not a novel concept anymore in large organizations as well. Okay, so that's kind of the concept of opinionated software. One, it has an opinion. That's why it's called opinion. It has an opinion on how to solve a problem. Sorry. So it has a strong opinion on how to solve a problem. It offers a guided approach to that because it's opinionated, right? Because it has an opinion. Usually it tries to not overwhelm you with information, but rather help handhold you to the information, to the outcome that you're seeking. And third, it comes with the expertise. So more often than not, you'll see prepackaged screens, reports, information in these tools, so that you don't have to think of customization and configuration and things like that. So, but that also doesn't mean that inherently comprehensive solutions that are very configurable are inherently bad. No, these can coexist. Even us, it's because I write opinionated software doesn't mean that I only use opinionated software. Like, for example, I gave the example of QuickBooks. With QuickBooks, we also have a spreadsheet where we forecast and we try to play plan A, plan B, plan C, and kind of do risk management around the investment and the budgets that we do. And that we chose to use spreadsheet because it's more flexible and we can customize and we can do things around that. We still use we use QuickBooks, but we also use spreadsheets. The same thing with, for example, because we're talking about this, we use Profitwell, which helps us track our subscriptions for our tools, and it automatically creates reports like MRR growth, churn rate, all of these lifetime value, ARPU, all of this information that is related to SaaS, subscription-based services and software. It's pre-made in there. But we also use something like Metabase, where we can pull marketplace data and play and put various dashboards, experimental dashboards around, and look at, drill down into the data and try to make hypotheses. So there is a place in organizations for both opinionated and more comprehensive, flexible tools. And these differences that I'm going to be making are not, I'm not saying there's a bad thing. I'm just trying to convey contrast. And I'm going to compare Swanly to one of the things that we're getting asked most often, which is advanced roadmaps, and also one of the biggest players, big picture. So if we look first at advanced roadmaps, so these are some of the traits. So Swanly is kind of positioned midway between a simple project roadmap and an advanced roadmaps. It has a lot of the features that advanced roadmaps has with portfolio views, releases, and things like that. But it also has as I mentioned, a pre-made path to getting the information, where advanced roadmaps is a lot more customizable. Advanced roadmaps also presents all the information in one go, and Swanly, as you saw, you have to drill down. Advanced roadmaps has unlimited custom hierarchies versus, so you can create structures as much as you want, and which also gets you to, which means you need to really think about how you want to structure your roadmap activities and spend time on that. While Swanly uses a standardized phases under deliverable type of approach, and attached scope. So these are fixed predefined ways that you can, yes, you can configure and you can create your own stages and phases for each deliverable in Swanly and attach scope, but it doesn't have that level of flexibility where you can create infinite structures. It basically tells you need deliverable, you need phases underneath, and you need to see the attached tasks, right? And again, there will be an audience for advanced roadmaps, which prefers the flexibility and such, but there will also be teams that are trying to move away from the regular project level roadmaps, which are a bit too simplistic, and moving into a more complex approach because their team is growing and they have a specific need. They have a need, but they don't have an opinion on how that gets solved, as long as the challenge gets resolved and their need is fulfilled. That's one. But we're also going to have teams that actually prefer, like, the way we present information versus how advanced roadmaps presents information. And another big aspect of this is with advanced roadmaps, you can create many versions of a plan and prepare things and publish and have multiple versions and such, where with Swanly, you update things as you go. Yes, we don't have that ability of having drafts, but keeping the whole approach of, you know, the information that you publish is the right one, and the you get to update things real time and not have to deal with having drafts and publish states and things like that, and making your experience a lot snappier. So those are just a few examples of how, you know, an opinionated might differ to something like advanced roadmaps. And with big picture, well, I'll start by saying that Swanly is a plug and play app with ready-made reporting, as I mentioned, and it can be used instantly. So that reporting can be used instantly. If you already have your releases, let's say you're looking at the release screen, if you already have your releases set up and issues attached to your releases, and those issues are either using story points or maybe you're using time tracking, as soon as you install the app Swanly and you import that specific project that you want to track, or multiple projects, it will already give you the reports. You don't have to customize anything in the app in order for it to give you value. It gives you value from, you know, second one of having it installed. While big picture is more of a
So
traditional.
I have got one question,
Yeah.
Spiro, like what kind of reports it shares? Like the KPI report of the sprints, or maybe the project level or the portfolio level reports, like these are the KPIs that has been hit and these are the SLA breaches and all those things.
So you can see it on the screen. So at the time being, it reports on deliverables. So at the deliverable level, which it will be a aggregation of all of the issues, tasks, or scope, however you want to call it, attached to that deliverable. So
Okay.
all of the reports that you're seeing on the screen are the aggregated information about the tasks, like, for example, issue progress, time tracking, story points, as well as a burn down chart of all of the issues attached to a deliverable. And I keep on saying deliverable rather than saying release, because you can, the same features that are applied to the release view are applied to the issue timeline as well, because you can have the same setup for, let's say, epics or stories, where you plot your story on the timeline and you attach multiple tasks, a specific scope to that, and you can the same way visualize reports in here. One, if you see on the right, that is the kind of report of how the deliverable, in what state it is. From a phase perspective, you might be in QA and or system testing or something like that. You might be midway through development. You might have testing failed and such. You can see that on the right in the higher level phase report, but you can also drill down on the left on those tabs and figure out why exactly testing failed. Oh, well, there are 20 items in progress. Let me go and see what's going on with these items.
So for testing, coming to testing, like I mean, generally what we have seen is like we use a lot of other third-party add-ons like X-rays, a fire, and all. So how
Yes.
easy compatibility I mean Swanly has with those third-party add-ons? I mean, when we
Mhm.
take the plain vanilla Jira,
Yeah.
we cannot have any testing related stuff there, like the test cases or the we can have the stories, the defects, and other workflows. But I mean, when it comes to specifically testing, we use third-party add-ons like I mean, Jafire, Jira, or anything Grasshopper. So basically, how Swanly talks with those third-party add-ons to get the reports.
Yeah. So I'll just put it like this. Anything that is an issue type, you
Mm-hmm.
can plan and see in Swanly. So I
Okay.
know that a lot of these test tools create new issue types as the
Mm-hmm.
test cases,
True.
test execution, and so on. So with the tools, with the apps that generate new issue types in your Jira instance for a test case and test execution, you will be able to plot them on the timeline in Swanly and see the reports that you see now on the screen for those test cases. And if the test execution are linked to the like for example child issues of the test case,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll see them in the scope as well.
Okay, got it, got it. That answered my question. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, so just to conclude with the big picture comparison, yeah, so big picture is a more traditional Microsoft project, like one-stop shop for um, deep configuration abilities. And again, as I mentioned earlier, with Swanly, all of those screens that you see with reporting, plug in, install it, import the projects, and you have all of that data available ready for you. While with big picture, there's a bunch of configuration that needs to happen before you see the value, see the reporting, make sense of the data in there. Again, not necessarily, it's not the bad way, but because fundamentally, if you spend time, then you can tailor and display reports and information in big picture the way you want to. With Swanly, as an opinionated piece of software, we're showing you what we think you need to see, right? Big picture also allows you to do a lot of things like Gantt, risk management, dependency table, resource management, and so on. So it's a very comprehensive project management tool. While Swanly's central component is the roadmap, and the approach of roadmap delivery planning. So your epicenter is the roadmap, and everything is kind of like drilled down. Everything is the paths lead from the roadmap, which is the main central piece. And again, big picture kind of shows you all of the data at once, while drilled down information in Swanly, and I've explained that quite a bit. No point of mentioning it again. It's and the benefit of big picture is also it's extremely customizable, while Swanly has less customization. It's plug and play and run. But also because it's extremely customizable, big picture requires significant effort to set up and learn, while Swanly is much quicker in getting running with. And this is one, we don't have that extensive documentation that comes with Swanly, because you don't need that much documentation. Yeah, sure, there are a few things that explain various aspects of it, just some of the notions, and we have articles, blog posts going more into, oh, if you want something that's, you know, might involve automation for Jira or something like that, then here's how to do that separate scenario. And speaking of automation for Jira, big picture has internal auto scheduling and tasks. And with Swanly, you can potentially achieve the same thing with utilizing automation for Jira. So we, as an opinionated and an expertise type of tool, we try not to, as I mentioned earlier, one of the anti-pattern of opinionated is trying to be jack of all trades. So we try not to do that and unload some of the duties to expertise tools themselves. Like, for example, why should we have automation rules and configuration in our app when we can unload that to automation for Jira? So yeah, so that's a bit of a comparison for with some of the bigger tools. And I guess that's kind of it on my behalf. I'm open to Q&A. We still have a few minutes. So if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to ask me. More than happy to answer.
I already asked whatever I had, actually. I stopped you and asked. So, Sim, you have any questions?
No, thanks.
Thank you so much. We will have more material coming on this. And yeah, that's, we're currently, as I mentioned, we're currently building our fourth app, Hedge, for risk management. And the whole point for us is to, for example, with Hedge, the mission is to enable any kind of team access to risk management standards and principles, which currently, if you think of risk management, you think of large organizations that practice, because as soon as you start thinking about risk management, you start thinking complexities, complex setups, clunky and such. But we want to take this approach of opinionated and expertise tool a bit to an extreme with Hedge, and try to start onboarding startups and smaller size teams and companies to be a bit more risk conscious. And we plan to do that with a tool that can encourage them to think about risks. Let's put it like that. So yeah, good things to come soon.
So basically, I mean, right now in Jira, we do not have much marketplace add-ons with respect to risk management. And mainly this bigger organization, what they do, they maintain a spreadsheet, they follow a risk log, and they give the criticality and the severity, calculate the risk score, and based on that, they come up with risk avoidance, risk tolerance, risk transference, and all the stuff. So would be happy to see that as well when it is up at your
I
end.
am also, I'll take this further. We're actually looking for people that want to talk to us about risk management and potentially be part of the crew that helps us shape up the beta version of it. So if you're interested, I'll be happy to, more than happy to organize a quick call with Nikki, my co-founder and PO as well, for us to talk to you about some of your experience with risk management.
True.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, then I guess that's kind of it. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for
Bye.
sharing the knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's if I will definitely come back and talk about some of the other things. I would love to talk to you about Foxley for prioritization. We have some really cool things that we've been thinking about and working with to make prioritization process a lot more inclusive in organizations. And because we all know that usually the loudest person gets their way in a lot of these organizations. So we kind of came up with ways to help prevent that and make this whole prioritization of your work a bit more inclusive. And yeah, would love to join a future event and talk about that a bit.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Piro, and thanks a lot, Sim, as well, for joining us. And I'll just keep the recording with me, and whoever wants it, I'll share it across the community. I'll just post the link as well. And Biro, like I would be happy to contribute or do the knowledge share of this on risk management. So maybe I'll do a DM to you after this call so that we can take it forward.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
brilliant. Exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Same to you. Same to you. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Yes.
You too.
Have a sweet weekend.